What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome back to another episode of The Drop, the weekly series where I let you know what games are coming out across the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, the Switch, the PC, whatever they might be coming out on. We will talk about it right here, and this week is a relatively interesting week with a variety of games, including stuff like Trials Rising and Toejam and Earl back in the groove. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. To kick things off this week, we have Trials Rising coming out on the PS4, the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, and the PC. Explore over-the-top action and physics-bending motorcycle racing in the latest entry in the Trials franchise. With over 125 new tracks, Trials Rising is easy to pick up and play, challenging to master, and offers the best multiplayer racing experience ever. Experience the most challenging tracks around the world, from the Great Wall of China to the Eiffel Tower. Test your friendships with the new tandem mode that allows two players to control one bike. Hilarity is guaranteed. Create and share unique levels in Track Central with over 8,000 items available. The fun and possibilities are endless, and from your local backyard to worldwide stadiums, defeat all of your opponents online and rise to glory. For those that don't know what Trials is, don't think of it as an MX game or a BMX game as the gameplay is obviously showing you. Rather, this is an arcade game where you pretty much try and pull off hilarious stunts and giant jumps without actually falling off your bike or breaking your neck. Now, of course, Trials Rising is the sequel to the critically acclaimed Trials Fusion, which many people have enjoyed over the past few years. But if it does sound like something you might be interested in, then it's coming out this week on the PS4, the Xbox One, the Switch, and the PC. Next up, we have Toejam and Earl Back in the Groove, coming out on the PS4, the Xbox One, the Switch, and the PC. Toejam and Earl have crash landed back on Earth in Toejam and Earl Back in the Groove, a funky, fresh, roguelike adventure infused with old-school hip-hop and jam-packed with awesome throwbacks to the 1991 classic. Original Funk Lord and co-creator Greg Johnson is back at the helm with the sequel that Toejam and Earl fans have been waiting for. The iconic 90s duo is back in the groove with all new presents to help them navigate this whack planet Earth and retrieve all of the lost pieces to the Rapmaster rocket. Team up for co-op play to discover secret locations, hidden presents, and new friends as you make your way through a constantly changing and unpredictable world. Maybe Toejam and Earl shouldn't have taken the Rapmaster rocket on an intergalactic joyride again, but they probably have a good reason, right? Right. Toejam and Earl Back in the Groove is a mashup of the very best features of the classic console games with a ton of fresh improvements. Grab some homies and get ready for a blast of funky nostalgia as you help Toejam and Earl return once again to Funkotron. Of course, as mentioned in the description, the original game came out back in 1991 and has since risen to the status of a cult classic of sorts. People love Toejam and Earl, so whenever they announced Back in the Groove a couple of E3s back, everybody was genuinely excited to see what they would come up with, and to be quite honest with you, it looks like a modernized Toejam and Earl story that is going to definitely cater to fans of the original. Of course, Toejam and Earl has never really been my thing, just because of the style of game and also the art style, but there is no denying that the game is incredibly unique and definitely has a large following online. So if you did want to check out Toejam and Earl Back in the Groove, it's coming out this week on the PS4, the Xbox One, the Switch, and the PC. Next up, we've got Stellaris coming out on the PS4 and the Xbox One this week after spending about 3 years on PC. Explore a vast galaxy full of wonder. Paradox Development Studio, makers of the Crusader Kings and Europa Universalis series, presents Stellaris, an evolution of the grand strategy genre with space exploration at its core. Featuring deep strategic gameplay, a rich and enormously diverse selection of alien races, and emergent storytelling, Stellaris has engaging, challenging gameplay that rewards interstellar exploration as you traverse, discover, and interact, and learn more about the multitude of species you will encounter during your travels. Etch your name across the cosmos by forging a galactic empire, colonizing remote planets, and integrating alien civilizations. Will you expand through war alone or walk the path of diplomacy to achieve your goals? Of course, needless to say, for fans of strategy games, this one is going to be right up your alley, but of course it's definitely different because there aren't too many space strategy games out there. It sounds like something that is very interesting. So if it sounds like something that might tickle your fancy, you can check out Stellaris this week on the PS4 and the Xbox One, but it's out right now on PC via Steam. And finally, to round out our main games for the week, we have Dead or Alive 6 coming out on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. Dead or Alive 6 is a fast-paced 3D fighting game produced by Koei Tecmo Games, featuring stunning graphics and multi-tiered stages that create a truly entertaining competitive experience. The Dead or Alive franchise is a AAA fighting game series produced by Koei Tecmo Games, Team Ninja, composed of fast-paced 3D fighting games that began with the original Dead or Alive arcade game in 1996 and have since appeared on a multitude of consoles and arcade machines around the the world. In Dead or Alive 6, the world of DOA is brought back more vibrant than ever, featuring both enhanced visuals and an updated combat system aimed to provide the highest possible level of new fighting entertainment. The story will follow the events of Dead or Alive 5, focusing on two separate main narratives, namely the battle between Ninja and Doatech versus Mist, led by Donovan, and the events that occur during the 6th Dead or Alive tournament. New side story episodes will also be added for returning characters. For those that don't know about Dead or Alive, essentially the franchise has always been a solid fighting game, but more so people have known it because of the way that female characters are represented within the game. Very revealing, jiggling, trying to find other adjectives to describe Dead or Alive, but that has changed a bit with Dead or Alive 6. Instead, it's not quite so over the top when it comes to sexuality, more so it's focusing on being a genuinely good fighting game. So for some that might be more perverted in nature, you might be disappointed with Dead or Alive 6. However, the gameplay that I've seen is showing off a pretty solid fighting game, nothing that's on the level of a Street Fighter, but maybe more so a Virtua Fighter. Maybe even a Virtua Fighter 5, which was a fantastic game. But if you are into a fighting game released this week, then you can check out Dead or Alive 6, coming out this week on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. To wrap up this week's show, we have some honorable mentions. First off, Swords and Soldiers 2 is coming out on the Nintendo Switch. The Lego Movie 2 video game is coming out on the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And Remy Lore Lost Girls in the Lands of Lore is coming out on the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. So that wraps it up for this week's episode of The Drop. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to drop me a like down below, and in the comments section, let me know what you guys think about this week's lineup. Are you checking out Dead or Alive 6? What about Toejam and Earl? Perhaps even getting in on some of that Trials Rising. Let me know down below, and of course, if you happen to be brand new to the channel, I upload videos throughout the week. I have a podcast 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. You can check out all of this content on the channel and subscribe if you do enjoy what you see. But without further ado, hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.